While it took 7 months for the social networking site Twitter to be restored and some financial losses to be incurred to the tunes of billions of naira, some of the conditions accepted by Twitter have come under scrutiny. Joining me now to discuss some of these conditions is legal expert and public affairs analyst Liberus Oshoma. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Now, one of the agreements reached with Twitter is the enrollment of Nigerian officials to manage prohibited content. How does this play out, especially against the backdrop of government's resolve to regulate social media?
First and foremost, I am happy with some of the conditions, but I doubt how the federal government will be able to keep, some of these other conditions, like enrolling government officials to, regulate, also manage, content with Twitter, alongside with Twitter. And let's see how that plays out. For me, really, it's a situation where this government, who will be the government officials? Is it the agency or the ministry who are, part and parcel of the complaint? Because we're talking about deleting the president, and we know how where, we see government as people that can do no wrong. So when you enroll government officials to manage prohibited content, who determines what is prohibited? A situation where government feels something is prohibited and Twitter does not feel that it is prohibited. How do you now resolve issues like that? Which person's view will supersede? Will it be the government officials' view of what is prohibited or Twitter's rules and regulations? Yeah, it is good to pay taxes. Every organization that operates in Nigeria should pay tax. You play by the rules in Nigeria, and then appointment of country rep. For me, by and large, really, what I see play out in all of these, the fact that we have really, we play into the hands of multinationals because we refuse to develop ours. If we develop our technology and we make our country habitable and a place, where business can thrive, you wouldn't really have this back and forth. Business naturally will want to come to it because we have the population and we have, the manpower. But unfortunately, our government and governance has not been up at par with some of these rhetoric that you hear. So that's why, it becomes very difficult for some of these tech giants to actually abide by some of this. But let's see how that will play out where, we'll have government officials managing the content of the private.
Speaking of the future now, do you have concerns that this will not, in the long run, blur the line between freedom of speech and censorship?
No, not really. You see, even in Nigeria, just like your point, there are rules and regulations that you must comply with. The regulatory body, the broadcasting regulations also are rules. There are rules and regulations that you must comply with. And so that really does not mean that it is media gagging. But in the same vein, we also know how high-handed Nigerian government can be. Some of the content that media are gagged, not are prohibited from transmitting here, are the content that other clients today are content that you can actually transmit. Take for example, here we see criticism of government officials as prohibited, but in other plans, these are things that the citizens can actually call out the government officials on. So if we carry that mindset of the government can do no wrong into these activities, then it will amount to censorship and no longer, abiding by rules and regulations. So there's a very thin line between that, because we are still not away from, that attempt to censor and gag the media because of some of these issues that we can't stay here. Which, in other societies, it will be very free, to say. It's justifiably so. In situations where, somebody criticizes the president, you are arrested, you are invited for questioning, or a guest on your platform, use some certain words against government officials, rather than the government officials going to court, or rather than the government agencies, they will rather, invite the TV house and threaten them with sanctions and closures. So in that case, if you now have government officials, managing content of a private company, are we not going to see similar, issues play out? So that's why I say it's a very thin line. And being a multinational organization and a platform that a lot of people use cross border, then it might be a bit difficult.
Well, indeed, legal expert and public affairs analyst, I'm sorry it's as much you can take on the matter, but many thanks. Liberous Oshoma, thank you very much for your contributions.